And we're back to another episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy II. I'm your host, the RPG Guy. And it looks like we're ready to get going here. When we last left off, we were trying to infiltrate Bafsk to find out about the Dreadnought. Apparently a super airship which is going to be used to rule the world. And we are supposed to try to stop it, or at least figure something out regarding it. As far as that goes, not too worried about it. We are overgeared, we are overpowered to a degree. And yeah, so I don't really have much to say regarding anything beyond that. As you can see, I'm not really trying to build up skill levels so much, because I'd rather just do that privately in a grind session. We could do a little bit, but it would be very subtle what we do, and it does stretch out battles, but I don't believe there's a boss fight in this dungeon. So theoretically, it wouldn't hurt me to... It wouldn't hurt to do it, so something to consider. But it would be mostly building up secondary levels of magic, specifically, like getting Sap, Life, Asuna, Blink, and Silence. Protect and Shell up to at least level 3 would probably be desirable. It would only take a few battles to do it, but in that same breath, it's not necessary yet. But again, the sooner we get it done, the sooner we can, do other things, per se. The sooner I can just kind of power through dungeons, because I don't feel like I need to... Well, not power through dungeons, but what's a good way to describe this? What I'm trying to say that actually makes sense. If I do it now, it's less I got to do later, because we're going to keep getting new magic spells as the game progresses anyway. So it wouldn't necessarily hurt us to it wouldn't necessarily hurt to have better options as far as what we can cast, and I would have less magic to build up later. So I don't know how else. Beyond that, you're on your own. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just having one of those days where trying to think of how to explain it, but like I can pop a protect. We can do Toads at 5. Those are all at 5. What's not at 5 here? Well, we can do Toad. We do this, and this again is the usual fare for leveling up skills. We can try to get Shell and Protect up to level 3, and then worry about the other skills that Farion needs to work on, because Asuna and Life take a huge priority as well regarding Farion. So Farion, however you want to say it. Don't really, but yeah, that's something we could theoretically do. And I'm attacking Maria with Gus to try to lower her HP so she'll get an HP bonus. But again, it always depends on the enemies that you're fighting and where and how strong and they are. Because we may have gotten to a point where we've capped out what characters can do, per se. We also could look at Guy as a healer to get his MP up. So there's a whole handful of things we can do, but we got to get Maria's HP down first. I think is a bigger deal. And if we use Guy's magic in battle, he'll actually build up his MP, because his MP is leaves us a little wanting, a little bit more wanting from it. But we don't want to raise it too much, because we don't want it to affect his physical skills. So, but you want it just enough that it actually is relevant. Or he ends up being more relevant for it. So I'm going to go ahead and try to level up some skills here, guys. So give me 1 second. Alright, let's keep moving. As we get into another fight here. Alright. Okay, another one of these. Alright, let's keep moving here. We're almost to the end of the dungeon, I believe. So yeah, I'm going to try to make a thing out of every once in a while. I'm going to go ahead and try to build up some magic stuff regarding characters, but yeah.
You're too late. The dreadnought is complete. I've been working hard behind the scenes to see the project through to completion. And your resistance kneel before your emperor is the only alternative left to you. Consider what I said. When the time comes, we will meet again. Okay. Looks like you came all this way for nothing. See for yourselves.
Yeah, that was kind of dumb. Excelsior! Well, now they've got their doomsday weapon. And they're gonna take everyone we know and love to a wonderful place known as Murder Town. No! Want to make sure you get that. And we can just warp out of here using this. And it brings us back outside of Bafsk. Now we need to make our way back, I believe, to Poft. So... Or was it Poft or was it... no, it's Poft. It's Poft. We got to make our way back to Poft anyway. Because obviously, if anybody knows anything about airships, it's going to be Sid. And this obviously is not a good situation. So we're going to need to do that. And make our way walking-wise back. Which I think you guys have seen me make this journey, but we'll go ahead and I'll assume you haven't. In case you did go on and skip ahead a little bit, but you don't want to skip ahead too much. The idea is based on where we are. Poft is over here. So if we look at our map here, we have to head around the mountain bend. It's pretty much all we got to do on foot. Which is not a hard trek. Even if we were weaker, it's still not a hard trek. It's just an annoying trek when you have to be fighting these guys, who pretty much offer us nothing. Hence why I still have maces on Maria and Furion, because there's no point giving them their better weapon option when they're killing everything with their current weapon option, which is the weaker option of the two. So, I mean, take that in stride however you wish, but it's just one of those things where it's like, I want them to have access to staves later in the game, and I want them to be somewhat, you know, competent with them. So in this particular case, it makes more sense to make sure they're geared out right. Let's just power through these fights as quickly and efficiently as we can. This will help build up Maria's ice levels. Everything we want to get up to 8, and then it'll hover at 8 for a while. Now, why would it hover at 8 for a while? Well, that's halfway to max level, and we're still in the early parts of the game. There's not much point in getting her spells stronger than that currently. It'll make more sense and be more relevant later. Alright, so we're back in Poft, and as you can see, shit went down. Seriously, shit went down. So let's go and see what went down. You wanna, on the airship, pay my guy. We're gonna ask, actually, about the Dreadnought. What you want to do is blow up that thing's engine. Do that, and you can bring down the whole overgrown tub. Yay. Airships are powered by Sunfire. I'm sure the Dreadnought's no different. Now we're going to ask about the Sunfire. Controlling Sunfire is a tricky business. Let the flames get too high, you gotta run away on your hands. The engine will blow sky high. Okay, so that's really all we can get out of this. That's all we need to get out of this. That's all we need to get out of this. So we're gonna take the ship back to Palum. Whoops. That way we can use it again to save us traveling time. The other thing too is she's already got Thunder to levels 8. So once Blizzard's at level 8, Fire will be easy, because that'll just be our go-to AoE attack spell. Unless enemies are immune or resistant to fire when we get there. But, yeah, it'll be easy to micromanage all that. So we'll head to Palum. Palum! And we gotta go back to Altair to let Her Majesty know that shit has gone to the birds here. Because that's all we can do at this juncture. Is prepare for the worst. Not gonna bother with magic here. Sweet. Alright, let's keep moving here. Yep, get in there. So you can see the Dreadnought went on a literal rampage through all these towns and cities and stuff. The citizens are even hiding out here. Obviously did not go well. Many were wounded in the Dreadnought's attack. The shock has even caused my father's condition to turn for the worst. I hate that my father has to see this. He knows his death is near.
The hell?
Is there nothing you can do, Minwu?
All those who live must someday die. It is our fate. Still, it is my duty as a white wizard to ease the pain of those who suffer. I shall remain here and devote myself to the care of the wounded. I take my leave of you. The fate of the world rests on you, Furia. Waste no time in destroying the Dreadnought. And there he goes. Minwu leaves the party. No! So Minwu left, and that's okay. We got a better healer anyway. Ooh, snap! Let's ask Hilda about Sunfire. Sunfire is the crest of the kingdom of Kashwan. Or as I used to call it when I was a kid, Cashew. Its flame still burns on the ground floor in Kashwan Keep. Scott and Gordon have told me many stories concerning the flame. The finer points of the tale are not known to me. However, I seem to recall that the flame cannot be passed to just any torch. Sid told us that we might be able to use the Sunfire to destroy the Dreadnought. Then there's no time to waste. We must depart for Kashwan Keep at once. Kashwan Keep at once. If you hire Sid's airship, the journey should not take long. That leaves only one question. What can you use to bring the Sunfire back? That's a good question indeed. Really, there's not much we can really do at the moment because we don't know enough. Many lives were taken in the Dreadnought's attack. How are we supposed to fight something so terrible? So terrible. With bombs!
No, I'm just kidding.
Or am I?
So we perished in the Dreadnought's attack. Let's ask him about the Sunfire. Scott sealed the gates of Kashwan Keep to protect the Sunfire in the event they were defeated in battle. You will need the Goddess Bell to break the seal. Learn. Probably could have learned it elsewhere, but whatever. The belts of the bell are known only to the Kashwan royal family. Okay, so... Let's go over here. Bestiary. Let's ask about the Goddess Bell. Gordon would know where the bell is kept, but I have not seen him lately. Someone close to Scott or Gordon may know where to find it. So, get a little bit of info there. Maybe Hilda knows something about the Goddess Bell, which she didn't tell us about earlier. I've heard Scott and Gordon mention the bell. The gates of Kashwan keep open only for the voice of a Kashwan or the ringing of that bell. The bell rests deep within the cavern on the snow plains. It will not be easy to retrieve. So it is your intention to enter the snow cavern? Very well. If only Gordon were here, there would be no need for you to risk such danger. But he isn't, so you must. There is nothing I can do but pray for your success. Joseph knows the snow plains like the back of his hand. You should seek his counsel. Okay, so that's really all the information we're going to really get out of here that's relevant. Now I will say this, in this version of the game, you don't want to unequip characters. Okay? In other versions of Final Fantasy II, you would equip Minwu or Mindu, depending on which version of the game you're playing. You would unequip him immediately. As soon as you walk into Altair, you would unequip him. I did not. But I don't know if I'm going to do the bonus stuff in this game or not either. So it's kind of up in the air if I'm going to do it or not. Probably not. I'd just rather get through the main game for you guys. But we'll see. We still got time. So I bought a set of mithril armor, excluding the shield. For definitive reason, we don't need any weapons. Alright, so with that said, we now need to head all the way to Salamand, which is back literally the way we came. So we could probably take Sid's airship to get there most of the way. Still a bit out there. But we're going to heal once we get to Salamand and amongst other things. But what I might do is burn through character MP and stuff before we use the inn there. That way we can warrant and justify using that inn. Because to heal what little we have is kind of irrelevant anyway. So in my brain, it makes more sense to just burn through it and reap kind of the benefits of it. And it'll get us some cash too. Well, not really, but we can at least maybe get Toad and Curse up. We can get Blizzard up maybe to 8. And then get Pharion's magics to 3. I'd be happy with that. I would feel confident with that turnaround. So let's go to Salamand. Ah, crap. And here we are. So I'm going to go ahead and do some magic leveling really quick. For you guys, not quick for me, but I'm going to try to get some magic levels going here. You know what? I changed my mind. I thought about it for a second, and I'm like, well, we could do this other thing that we got to do first before we have to really focus on getting prepared. We're as prepared as we need to be for what's coming up. Briefly. Looks like you managed to save my daughter. Thank you. That cowardly boy. Okay, this is what he said before. So let's ask him about the goddess bell. The only way to reach the snow cavern is on my snowcraft. I keep the snowcraft hidden in the mine. There's a blue stone on the first floor that marks the spot. Look behind the stone and to the right. The secret room's there and the snowcraft is inside. So here's how this is going to play out. I'm sorry I couldn't help you find the mithril, so I want to make up for that by pitching in now. What are we waiting for? Let's go. So Joseph joins the party. So I'd rather pick him up now and do this little grabbing of the snowmobile thing. I totally almost forgot that we had to do that. And then I was sitting there, fought a single battle, and then got out of it right away when I realized that was like, oh wait, that's going to be a thing, isn't it? Dude has no magic, so don't try. Gear. Now you'll notice he's barehanded. Okay, so the first thing he would be like, optimize. Oh wait, why didn't they put a sword in there? Yeah, you know, that's interesting. They could have put a sword in there, but they didn't. Because if you look, he's a monk. For lack of a better term, that's what he does. Joseph is a solid, straight-up monk character. All he does is punch things. And that's really all that he's good at. Hence why it's relevant to not, under any condition, give him a weapon of any kind. So we've geared him up with new stuff. Let us sort this. Then we're going to sell off his old gear. So everything mithril stays, but leather, anything with L's in it, long sword, long bow, leather, that all can go. That all needs to burn and die in a fire. Though we have mithril armor, but why is that in there? Oh, golden armor. No, you're not getting golden armor, but my friend. You ain't getting that golden armor. So yeah, that's fine. I'll only sell this last golden armor if we need the money. We might do a trip at some point. Once we start opening up new towns and stuff, we might take a trip to Finn before we can no longer fight captains. So and that is a thing. So now what we need to do is literally make our way back to the mine. So you might notice a theme in Final Fantasy II. The theme being repetition. They constantly are making us kind of go to and from places we've already been. Now, this isn't a deal breaker, I would say, by any means. So far, you have to remember the time period that this game came out. You know, the idea of constantly backtracking to towns back and forth and this concept is rather new for its time. Nowadays, we would see it kind of silly to have us keep going back and forth between the same two places. But remember, the only way you can level in this game, surprisingly, is by actually doing stuff in battle and combat, which I'm ignoring at the moment. With that said, it's one of those. It's a weird kind of feel for a Final Fantasy game, because yeah, you do revisit places in other Final Fantasies, but many would argue nowhere near as frequently as it happens in Final Fantasy 2. And it's almost like it's trying to make the world bigger than it really is. And it's a neat idea. Again, Final Fantasy 2 is 90% well-conceived and thought of ideas, but not executed well. And it could be a limitation of the technology, though I'm more inclined to think that it was just not fleshed out enough. And they were just trying out what sounded good and trying to make it bigger than it really was meant to be. But, you know, it is what it is. So here's the stone Yosef was talking about, and what you gonna do? Yosef turns a small rock jutting out of the wall, and a passage appears. The snowcraft is in here. Go. Sweet. Alright, so now we can get out of this dump. Let's use our powers. Me as well. I gotta build those up too, but I'm not gonna bother with it right now. We'll do it at a dungeon that's near a town. Probably Bafsk would be a good idea. And for some reason, whenever we use teleport, we take damage. It's kind of weird. I mean, I'm not complaining. It is weird. You know what? No. Let's just let's just actually defend this round. Let Guy burn his MP. That way he'll get maybe an MP bonus. And then we'll take him out next round.
You better run.
Teleport must do damage. That's fine. I don't mind. It's just interesting. Esuna, and then we'll take him out next round. I know I'm making you guys sit through this. I'm again trying to just show you how I'm leveling. Since I can't level weaponry right now because the enemies aren't dangerous enough, and they're so pathetic, they're running away for the most part, and doing around 0 damage. We have to kind of handle it this way. That means Furion's. We gotta use life in another battle coming up. Darn it. Again, that's okay. Yeah, Guy got an MP increase. Woo! That puts him at 63. Again, 75 to even 100 would be good, but 100 might be pushing it. So maybe one more MP boost, and then we'll leave him alone for a while. And then when characters start breaking over 250, I might bring him up again to about 120, 150. So, again, same layout. Maria, get them.
Nice.
The guy's HP went up. Strangely enough. Yeah, that's the one thing is his HP just keeps creeping up sometimes. Alright, so we're going to go back to Solomon. Yay! And I'm going to do a little bit of magic grinding. Just a wee bit. Like I said, I want to get maybe Blizzard up to 8 would be nice. Try to maybe build up Maria's HP a wee bit. All that kind of good stuff. And kind of burn through Maria and Furion's magic reserves. That should give them a light MP bonus, possibly, depending on the enemy layout and all that kind of stuff. All those variables. But I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yeah, we're just gonna get all of them levels. We're gonna try to get what we can out of it, but it's still trying to get that freaking magic up. So yeah, we're gonna try to do that. Then I'm gonna heal as well. So we've got some work cut out for us, but that's what we're gonna do first, and then we're gonna heal up. But really, we're getting there as best as we can for what it's worth. So let me go ahead and take care of that. All right. So we've let's take a look here. Got magic up to all level 3s except for teleport and warp. I'll do those separately. I couldn't get Blizzard up high enough because the enemies are just not strong enough to level off of, so I kind of put that on the back burner. Guys, MP is fine where it is, and when we look at weapon levels, we actually got Maria's staff to 6, which is great. And Guy's sword skills went up, and HP and MP for characters kind of went up in both directions. So now we need to make our way to the snowfield. Which is kind of like as if we were heading to Summit Falls, whatever you want to call it. And it'll take us, once we get in that area, we will finally be able to make our way towards the snow or ice cavern, depending on what version of the game you're playing. I think they go under different names, so that's kind of a thing. And we'll move up to here. And this is the snowfields, which now we have the vehicle needed. Yay! So now what we need to do is head down this way. We should still run into random encounters though, so don't get too cocky as we are in our snowmobile. As we fight some new snowmen here. What we want to do briefly while we're also in this area is see if we get actual weapon upgrades. If, like, the maces, Furion and Maria's mace level up without them having to attack themselves, which I don't think it did crap. Well, yeah, actually, yeah, it looks like it did. Because once they hit 7, we'll put swords and spears back on characters and have at it the old-fashioned way, as they say. Let's take a look at our map. So we're getting there. Gotta keep heading east. And then we'll head north. As we have a new enemy who will just get smited down with melee attacks, so. And HP growth when nothing really went down. Gotta love that when it happens. And so here, I believe, is our destination. Yes. So that being our destination. So, again, really quick. If it's going up, it's ever so subtle. But I'll fiddle around with it briefly, because we don't want to burn through MP or anything, you know, kind of dicking around with enemies around here. Because we got our first big dungeon. Which, in Final Fantasy II, the dungeons are, in general, kind of absurdly large for what they are. Which is, I know it sounds weird to say that, but I don't know how else to better describe it. Other than that, the dungeons are big. And there's a lot of dead ends in Final Fantasy II dungeons, and, you know, routes that lead to nowhere, or they lead to chests that are not very good. It's very reminiscent of Phantasy Star, where you're going through these dense depth in like really deep dungeons, and the chests that are in there on average aren't that interesting. There are some good items and weapons to be found in dungeons later in the game, but at this stage of the game, I believe the earlier dungeons don't offer as much, or there's like 1 or 2 good items with a slurry of really bad or basic crap that you really don't care about in there. And I mean, that's very subjective. It looks like it's creeping up ever so slightly, so I'm not going to waste time grinding here for that. So anyway, this is a great place for us to stop. And when we come back, guys, we will be heading deep into the snow cave, snow cavern, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to be exploring our way through to find what we are looking for, which is the goddess's bell. So thank you guys for stopping by. I am your host, the RPG Guy, and when we come back, we'll have some more Final Fantasy II for you.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Please take a moment to check out more episodes from the RPG Guy, Tuesday Night Team Up, and more. And please subscribe. Always support the channels you enjoy watching, and while you're at it, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. Keep on gaming hard. See you next time.